All right, guys. I hope I'm clearly visible and audible to all of you. Today is the day 32 of recording the scheduled videos for 75 days, and today we will talk about democracy, right? This video will be, you know, about the forms of government, right? Specifically, democracy. In India, we consider our country as the world largest democracy. So let us understand what is the advantages, pros, what is the disadvantages or the cons of the very form of the government that we are living in. All right. So see, in introduction, democracy is the rule by the people, for the people, and of the people. Right. It is the famous line said by the Lincoln. Right. I'm sorry. So the evolution of democracy have been a big transformation in shaping the new world, right? Which many countries adopted and many countries did not, right? There are multiple authoritarian, right, totalitarian and different n number of regimes or the forms of government, but democracy is the best, right? Democracy is the best form of government that has been claimed in the world. Yet, many countries do not adopt it or acknowledge the fact that democracy is the suitable form of government wherein people can evolve and bring the best, out of themselves, right? So, yeah, that's there. And as I've said earlier, the democracy not only has advantages, it also comes with a lot of disadvantages. And let us understand all this thing in, you know, quite. I won't claim that, hefty, huge arguments. Yet, I would keep all the points very short and brief. So the first advantage of having democracy is participation of all from the grassroots to the creamy layer, right? Democracy ensures that all the section of the country, all the section of the society, they participate in the vote, in the decision making in a bigger spectrum, right? They have got the right to choose. They have got the right to vote for the leaders who want the who want right who want a really good and well-being of the nation, right? So that's there, they have got the right to vote, right? From the age of 18, every citizen can vote in democracy. Specifically in India, they have got the right to contest, right? And second advantage is ensure the will of the people. Democracy function according to the majority and the will of the people, right? And if they place their demands, then it would get fulfilled if it's in the form of majority, if the majority demands, right? And there is a concept called election manifesto, right? And wherein the political parties, rivalries, the sort of promises the things which they will do after, once their party comes into the power, right? So that's there. The usually political party in 5 years, once they wins the poll, they release manifesto after every 5 years before the election, right? And the same manifesto is prepared according to the need and the necessity of the public. So that's the second advantage. And third advantage is the respect for the minorities, right? For the marginalized societies, for the marginalized groups, and for the depressed class, for the economically weaker section. There shall not be any form of discrimination in terms of, gender, caste, race, creed, place of birth, right? So all these things, you know, all the factors, that places one community or one, certain class of society, right? That thing doesn't happen in democracy. Everyone will participate, right? And their interest shall be respected at large, right? And in India, we opt for secular, right, social, and as the preamble, right, social, secular, democratic, and republic with integrity, right? So all those things we do follow in democracy. That's the third advantage. And fourth advantage is successful theory in developed nation, right? Country like USA is the world first democratic nation. In USA, election are held once in every 4 years. In India, it's held once in every 5 years, right? And the people of USA choose between two major political parties. But in India, it's you know there are multiple national parties, right? Whereas in USA there are only two major political parties, right? So in India we have multi political system, right? Political party system. So that's there. The same ideology, right, is adopted by many other countries in order to do good for the nation and to develop the nation. So that's the fourth point, fourth advantages. Now, the fifth advantage is freedom will be ensured by all the levels. As I have said earlier, from grassroots till the creamy upper layer of the country, freedom and various of its types are seen at present, right? Where different person can exercise their freedom of speech, right? And all this citizens have got equal opportunities irrespective of the caste, creed, place of birth, right, gender, sex. So that's there in democracy. And lastly, and most important point or the advantage of the democracy is decentralization of the powers, right? If I take about the example of the panchayat, right? So the very genesis of the decentralization is the 73rd and 74th Amendment Act, right? Constitutional Amendment Act, wherein they have got the decision making from the very bottom level, right? Where powers will not be vested in a single entity, right? The decision making comes from the very bottom, right? So that's there, and it will create a election in India at three different levels, such as parliament, state legislature, and in panchayat, right? So it also influences a lot in national political parties, all this ground root grassroots level democracy, right? It does play a huge role in forming the major 5 years election, right? The main general election. So that's there. Now that was all about the advantages. Now certainly there are few major disadvantages as well, and I think more than advantages, the disadvantages is quite it has got quite intensity, right? So let us just look on the few examples or the disadvantages of the democracy. Desire for power will increase among political parties, right? If there's multiple political parties, then everyone will race for the regime, right? Everyone wants to have power, and in democracy, seasonal election after every 5 years are held. And in case if one party doesn't secure the position in power, right, then there is all sort of you know a mahim, right, in terms of money power, muscle power, right? So that's there. In terms of freebies, right, that could be also one good example. And there's a lot of vote bank politics just because of the desire and the hunger for power. So that's the first disadvantage. Now second disadvantage is decision making may not be very easy because you are taking everyone's opinion in consideration, right? Since the democratic setup, right, the major decision is always a collective decision. As I've said, the prime minister or the chief minister should always take into account for the account keeping in view that general public is not hampered by their decision, right? And yeah, all those kind of things. And that's the second disadvantage. And a lot of things are delayed, right, when it comes to decision making, because it flows straight from the of minister, prime minister, to the president, right? And things have to be very, curated well to target all the citizens, right, while forming any public policy. So that's there. And third disadvantage is difficulty in choosing common law, or the, you know yeah, exactly, because India is very diverse, right? And in fact, it's very hard to choose one leader, right? Because it's India is a union state, and choosing one great leader is very difficult. As I've said, in democracy, there are multiple leaders desiring for the power, right? And the best deserving candidate will be chosen among the party and not by the public diversity. So that's there. Because as you all know, the uh, election of prime minister, right? We do not directly, choose the prime minister, right? The house chooses it. So that's there. And the fourth disadvantage is lead to increase in corruption. In election, in every 5 years, the political parties will be more motivated to do corruption, right, and save money for the future, for the election, for the money power or the muscle power, in order to use them in a, you know way that they could secure, again, a position that they win the next election, right? So they do corruption and they save a lot of money for the upcoming election. So that's there. For example, in Varanasi, right, in Varanasi constituency, uh, the Modi as a member of parliament, right? Modi in only, in Varanasi parliament, everyone have voted for the Modi as the member of parliament, but the BJP is who voted. The things are very simple. Let us not complicated, right? So we are the only ones, right, who select the MP, but the MP are the ones who select the prime minister. So in a nutshell, the things are like that, right? We do not directly choose prime minister. So we kind of easy. Just things are complicated in this content. So that's there. And the last point for the last disadvantage of democracy is, you know in democracy there is freedom of speech, but right, once you exercise your freedom of speech, no one can guarantee your right to life, right? So that's there. Even now, right, I don't know whether it's a perfect, but I can see, right, it is never perfect, right? And we can never achieve a perfect democracy. It is just, you know, a ideal state, right, where the democracy is flawless. In fact, it's chaotic, right? Democracy, if it's in its best form, then the country would flourish and thrive. So, right, there are many loopholes. First is corruption, right? So that's the last point. And the third, again, in addition, religion based politics, right, language based politics are present mainly in democracy, because the majority of people tend to vote because of their language, religion, right? And that should not happen in democracy, in order for the, good of the country, right? So that's there. So in summation, democracy is not a magical power, right, or neither a magical solution for all the problems. Democracy, as a form of government, only ensures that the people are empowered to vote and to have decision power from the very grassroots level. When a society adopts democracy as its form of governance, it presumes the beginning of the social transformation. So, yeah, easier said than done, right? So, yeah, democracy is no doubt, right, fundamentally a very good form of government, but the leaders must be accountable, right? They must be credible and they must be able to win the public genuine trust, right? And yeah, India is doing pretty good, right? At least, like they are doing good. If I think about the, global rank, right? Global relation, right? Internationally, it's doing pretty well, but yeah, in ground level, yet things are very, you know, filthy, politics is even now present in our India, right? So that's there, guys. Let us not, you know, go deep into it because politics, right? It is very debatable and right. If you have got any argument, you can just comment it down. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you have been till the end, I'm really glad that you have got a great attention span. That's it from my side for today's video. May God bless all of you and all your efforts. Enjoying and thank you. All right, Ansuman Dubey, big shout out to you. Thank you so much for being in this video. Bichara has been, you know, dropping the live chat again and again. Say my name. TK. Do well in life, Ansuman Dubey. Join and goodbye.